All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry about that. So, I want to talk again about this issue of racism in America today. I spoke for over a half hour on the religious aspects from the standpoint of Torah, Judaism. But the truth is, there's much more to talk about here. There's the political aspects of this whole hullabaloo right now. And yes, there was a horrible, horrible history of racism in America, but that's not the essence of America. If you really study what that's all about, that was what we would call vestigial leftovers from Europe, and not the original novelty of America. And so this lie that the left wants to push, that America was built upon racism, built upon slavery, is really foolish and ignorant. Because America is more than just a piece of land. America is an idea. America is like what Reagan spoke about, that shining city on the hill, which I believe is a reference from the Christian scriptures, what Christians call the New Testament. It's a powerful symbol to the world of this idea of freedom and equality, of authentic liberalism, not what the left calls themselves liberalism when they're the least liberal people in the world. And again, it was the Republicans that freed the slaves, and it was the Democrats that owned the slaves. And that's the type of stupidity that the Democrats, they say, Donald Trump was impeached, and he's impeached forever. What does that mean? It means he's accused forever. Well, he was found not guilty when it went to trial in the Senate. So the fact that he's impeached forever means absolutely nothing. It's a farce. On the other hand, the Democrats, truly, it's a stain on their history forever that they are the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of the KKK, the party of racism, and that's forever. And there's nothing they can do to erase that history. It's much more serious than the historical fact that Donald Trump is the third president to ever be impeached. Doesn't really mean anything other than, that the people in the House of Representatives didn't like him. And that was really the same thing with Clinton and the same thing with Johnson. Perhaps he's the first Republican president to be impeached, all right. But still, he wasn't convicted, he wasn't removed from office. But it's a historical fact that can never be changed, is that historically the Democrats at least were the party of racism, were the party of Jim Crow, were the party of the KKK, and that the Republicans were, and I say still are, the party of Lincoln, the party of abolition. They were the party of abolition. It's a moot point now because it's done, but it's the Republicans who got it done. It's the Republicans who managed to get all of the civil rights laws through the legislature, and then LBJ, who was a humongous racist, takes credit for it when very few Democrats supported it. So there's a lot going on here. But there's something much deeper. We mentioned. Now, I want to propose the idea that the Democrats are still the party of racism. and they're still the party of slavery, and they're still the party of Jim Crow, and they're still the party of the KKK. Who was Hillary Clinton's mentor? Senator Byrd, who was a grand wizard of the KKK. Who are still lynching blacks today? First of all, where did George Floyd get lynched? It was a Democrat city. It was a Democrat mayor. But there's more to it than that. Who are lynching black babies in the womb? Democrats. And who are seeking to abolish this peculiar institution of lynching black babies in the womb and white babies as collateral damage, really, but it's the Republicans. Nothing has changed. Who is the party that's obsessed with race? Who is the party that's obsessed with identity politics? That's the Democrats. Who's the party who wants to control everything, who wants big government? The Democrats. Who's the party that are keeping the black people down, taking the fathers out of their homes, keeping people dependent on welfare so they can control them and enslave them and keep them pretty much in slave quarters? If you visit some of these projects, I've been inside projects in the Bronx and places, and it's evocative of slave quarters in the old antebellum South. Who are the real and who wants to get rid of the police, the people who are protecting the black people from criminals who might happen to be black or white, but a lot of them happen to be black, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter what color anybody's skin is. If somebody's a law-abiding citizen, they're a law-abiding citizen. If somebody's a criminal, they're a criminal. Who's more likely to kill a black person? Another black person on the street, or a white police officer? Well, everybody knows that black-on-black crime is the number one danger to black people. I mentioned in that previous video, which again, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned, but it's true that this man said this to me, being honest about his feelings. An inmate in the prison where I work happens to be African American. The prison where I work happens to be majority white, as far as the inmates there. And this African American inmate told me he feels much safer and much more comfortable in a prison where the majority of the inmates are white, because he doesn't feel as threatened as he would in a prison where the majority of the inmates are black. What does that mean? I mean, that's just incredible. Now, that's just one man's feelings. But the fact that he said this to me, you do with that what you will. Who's all about gun control? Democrats. Why? Well, the same reason why the KKK was about gun control. They didn't want law-abiding blacks to be able to defend themselves. And so the same thing too. The Democrats are engaged, and that's why they want to take out the police also. Not because the police are killing blacks, but to get the police out of the way so the bad blacks could kill the white blacks, because that's all the Democrats care about is these demographics. Whereas the Republicans care about every individual being made in the image of God, and not about the color of the skin, but rather the content of the character. And the Republicans are recognizing what years of racism has done to the black community that was perpetrated by the Democrats. Why is it that President Obama, who's not African American, he's half African, half American, he's not a descendant of enslaved people. Most likely his father owned slaves, I wouldn't be surprised. Where this is Perry Road. I could just take this to 17B because I'm going to mikveh anyway. I mean, what's really going on here? Why do the Democrats want to get rid of the police? Not to protect black people from the police, but to remove the protection that they have from the police. That's why they play up when an aberration happens like this, a horrible, horrible thing happens, like the murder of George Floyd, who was no saint, but he didn't deserve to die. He was not a martyr. He was not a saint. But he was a man who was beloved by his family, and a man who did not deserve to die. Even if he committed many crimes in his life, he did not deserve to die. And they turn his death, the tragedy of his death, into a way to put more black lives in danger, because to the left, black lives don't matter. They only matter to people who believe all lives matter, to be honest. And this whole idea that people say that if you say all lives matter, then you're racist, it's nonsense. That's nonsense. Of course all lives matter. And police lives, like to say blue lives matter, police lives matter. The police are protecting people. And so you have a few bad apples, who did something wrong. And for all I know, I wouldn't be surprised if George Soros didn't pay off these, these cops to kill George Floyd, just to create all these riots and everything. That's how evil I believe George Soros is. I wouldn't put it past him. He might even be paying for their legal defense. Who knows? Because he's just there to stir unrest, stir the pot. That's what the left does. That's what these people are all about. These are evil people who want to destroy just for the sake of destroying. A guy like George Soros has financial gain from destroying economies, destroying cultures, destroying people's lives, creating unrest. And so these selfish, evil people are destroying this world. And who do we have? We have Donald Trump standing up, defending the innocent, and giving people second chances, freeing people from prison who were unjustly given long sentences, including many African American people who were the victims of institutionalized racism that was made by the Democrat Party. These are the things we have to bring out. I've had enough of hearing the Republicans are racist. You don't know anything about the history of the Republican Party if you couldn't say the Republicans are racist. It's the Democrats who are... If one of the two parties are racist, it's the Democrats. I'd be willing to say, all right, maybe the Democrats repented of their past racism, but they really haven't. It's still ingrained in their psyche, in their ideology, in their very name, Democrat, because they care about the demos, the demographics. They care about blocks. They don't care about the individual. Meaning a republic is a place where the minority is protected from the tyranny of the majority. And a democracy is a place where two wolves and a sheep vote on who's for dinner. And not who's the guest for dinner, but who are they eating for dinner. And this is what's going on in this world today. And I'm willing to stop saying the Democrats are racist, but they're not willing to stop lying that the Republicans are racist. Why? Because, like the Chazal say, kol hapoisel b'mumay poisel. Whoever denigrates someone else does so by their own by their own blemish. They are what's there's a psychological word there, projecting. They're projecting on the Republicans. You know what the chutzpah of that is? That would be like if the Nazis, after World War II, claimed, we're still going to call ourselves Nazis, but we're not racist, and the people who fought us, they're the real racists. That's what the Democrats do. And it's a crime. And it's enough of this already. And the fact that they had a president whose father was black and probably owned slaves himself in Africa, was probably the same type of warlord that the slave traders bought their slaves from. Because who'd they buy slaves from? From other black people. That's who Obama is. He's a slave master himself. He's not one of the African American people who were the descendants of slaves. These are the things we gotta know about. I heard maybe on his mother's side there were black slaves, but that's what it is. So it's a horrible thing we're looking in the world. We got to tell the truth. We got to stand up for the truth. Enough of this nonsense. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.